Former Tanzanian President Jakaya Kikwete, who was expected to lead a panel of elders into the country today to assess the SADC Elections Observer Mission preliminary report, is no longer coming to Zimbabwe. Our Honorable Charles Tibone from Botswana, who is already in Harare, will now lead the process. The visit by the elders in accordance with the recommendations of the SADC Advisory Council pre-election assessment mission conducted from 12th to 19th of April this year. The visit is also informed by decisions of the SADC summit held in Luanda, Angola earlier this month. And now we are joined by Zimpaper's Group Political Editor, Ranga Mataire, to discuss the just-ended harmonized elections. Ranga, very good evening to you and welcome to News Plus. Now, we understand that the panel of elders was invited well before the election. How important is this visit, and especially after the preliminary report was released by the SADC Observer Mission?
I think their presence soon after elections is very critical. It's very critical, but it's also consistent with what the government has been doing in terms of opening up its own internal processes to ensure that there is transparency, there is nothing to hide per se. So I think the presence of the elders is very important, coming on the heels of some kind of an adverse report, which was, a preliminary report, which was produced by a team headed by Dr. Nevas Mumba of Zambia. So I think their presence is well and good and well intentioned to ensure that there is transparency and that the government, Zimbabwe, adheres to the SADC principles, guidelines on holding democratic election. So I think it augurs well with that idea of presenting Zimbabwe as a democratic nation which is open to any peer review from its colleagues in the region. So the elders are very, very critical in enhancing that kind of spirit on the part of Zimbabwe.
Ranga, the Commonwealth and other observer missions gave the just-ended polls a thumbs up, and some heads of state have sent congratulatory messages. But there are some who seem to have different views. Your take?
You might be aware also that there are some president countries that have already congratulated His Excellency President Mnangagwa, and these include South Africa, Namibia, Tanzania, Russia, even China. But closer home, it's an endorsement on the electoral process, especially when it's coming from your close neighbors. South Africa is geopolitical power, and so is Tanzania as well. I'm sure Tanzania might be the incoming chair of the organ on politics. So that actually in itself augurs well. We have not heard a word so far from Zambia. However, I think you must also be able to distinguish that the team, the Nevas Mumba team, which was in Zimbabwe to observe elections, it's a temporal team. The SADC summit is the one that will legitimize every decision that is going to take place. However, I feel that some of the things that we're doing or that are being done now are mere academic, because if a constitutional body like ZEC has already declared an individual that he has won, and that individual already has some kind of endorsement from his regional colleagues, regional countries, I think that clears the air for any aspirations that anyone might be harboring.
All right, now let's take a look at the opposition now. The Citizens Coalition for Change, they are disputing the election results. In your opinion, do you think they have a strong case?
The CCC, particularly their president, who was trailing the president in terms of the votes, have a legitimate right to seek recourse in the courts. I think the Constitution allows them to do that. I think our laws allow them to do that. What is endemic to the Zimbabwean political body is resort to violence. So if the CC is thinking of seeking recourse in the courts, I think they have a legitimate right to do so, because they're in opposition and they feel that probably there are certain things that didn't go well. I think they're just like any other Zimbabwean. They have a legitimate right to seek recourse in the courts. I think it's up to the courts to decide whether their concerns are legitimate or not legitimate. I've heard about on social media some talking about whether there will be a poor rerun or anything. I don't think that will ever happen. I don't think that will ever happen. And people like to spread a lot of, disinformation, especially during this time. And it's always good for journalists to fact check certain things before they, publish them as being the truth. So yeah, I think the CCC have a right. They have a right to seek any recourse if they feel that there are certain things that need to be ironed out. They have a legitimate right as citizens to do so.